The stage lights flicker softly as the poor boy from Davao City steps forward, his thin frame almost swallowed by the grand size of the Ireland's Got Talent stage. His jacket is old, the fabric faded from years of wear, and the soles of his shoes are peeling slightly at the edges. He walks slowly, almost cautiously, as if afraid the floor beneath him might reject his presence. The audience murmurs quietly, exchanging uncertain glances, unsure of what to expect from the shy Filipino teen who looks like he has carried the weight of life far too early. His hands shake as he clutches the microphone, his knuckles pale. Under the spotlight, the slight tremor in his fingers is unmistakable. When he introduces himself, his voice is barely more than a whisper, but there is a sincerity that makes the room fall quiet. "I'm from Davao," he says, swallowing hard. "I grew up very poor. I'm here for my family." The vulnerability in his voice hits the judges instantly. Amanda's gentle smile softens even more, and her eyes glimmer with early emotion. She can sense there is a story behind the boy, one filled with struggle, hope, and desperation. Lewis tilts his head, studying him with curiosity and sympathy, while Simon Cowell narrows his eyes, analyzing the boy in silence, unsure but intrigued. The music begins, an Elvis classic, and the moment that first note escapes his lips, the atmosphere in the entire hall shifts. It's not gradual, it's instant, electric. The boy's voice erupts with a rich, soulful tone that seems to cut through the air like a blade. It's Elvis, not copied, but reborn in a new, raw, heartbreaking form. Simon's jaw drops open in shock. Amanda gasps softly, her hand lifting halfway to her chest as she takes in the impossible transformation before her. Lewis stands instantly, his chair scraping loudly behind him, eyes wide like he's witnessing something unreal. The audience, who moments ago doubted him, begins to lean forward, breath held. By the second line, whispers turn into stunned silence. By the third, people in the crowd begin covering their mouths in disbelief. Cameras zoom in on the boy's trembling hand around the microphone, the tiny shake contrasting sharply with the enormous power and mastery of his voice. Every note feels like it carries his entire life, his struggles, his hunger, his dreams, his love for his family, compressed into pure sound. The judges cannot look away. Amanda's eyes fill with tears, overwhelmed by the emotion pouring out of the young singer. Simon shakes his head slightly, not in disagreement but in astonishment, as though unable to believe this level of talent came from someone who moments ago seemed so fragile. Lewis keeps repeating under his breath, "Unbelievable, unbelievable," his expression glowing with awe. The crowd rises, slowly at first, then all at once, standing, clapping, shouting in sheer amazement. The boy from Davao, who came with nothing but a dream, has just awakened the spirit of Elvis on a stage thousands of miles from home. And in that moment, every single person in the room knows they are witnessing the birth of something extraordinary. The boy's voice pours through the theater like a ghost of the past carrying a heartbeat of the present, and the entire crowd feels it instantly. As he continues singing the Elvis classic, something in the atmosphere thickens with emotion. It is no longer just a performance, it feels like a spiritual awakening happening on stage. His small, trembling frame stands in the center of the golden light, but his voice, rich, deep, and impossibly soulful, fills every corner of the massive hall with the kind of power no one expected from someone so young and so poor. Amanda feels the first tear form before she even realizes she's crying. She lifts her hand to her mouth, unable to contain the wave of emotion hitting her all at once. The purity of his tone, the raw pain behind each word, she can feel his life story inside the notes, the hunger, the challenges, the hope burning inside him. It is overwhelming. She blinks rapidly, trying to keep her composure, but the tears refuse to stop. Lewis cannot stay seated. His legs move before his mind catches up. He rises from his chair, staring at the boy like he is witnessing history unfold right in front of him. His eyebrows lift, his mouth parts slightly, and he places both hands on the table, leaning forward as if drawn in by a magnetic force. The strength and emotional depth in the boy's voice makes Lewis shake his head in disbelief, whispering, "No way, no way." He has seen talent for years, but nothing with this combination of innocence and intensity. Simon Cowell, the usually stoic and controlled judge, is frozen in a moment of genuine shock. He leans forward so slowly it almost looks like time has paused. His eyes lock onto the boy, analyzing every detail, the way his voice hits each note flawlessly despite the trembling, the way his expression remains humble even as the audience begins reacting with louder and louder cries of amazement. Simon's mouth opens just slightly, and he lifts one hand toward his chin, as if trying to understand how such an extraordinary sound is coming from someone who walked on stage looking like life has been unbearably hard. The audience, unable to contain themselves, rises in waves. First a few people, then a row, then the entire theater stands, some clapping uncontrollably, others crying, others holding their heads in their hands. For many of them, it feels like Elvis himself has stepped back into the world, but through the soul of a boy who has lived through hardship and sings with a depth far beyond his years. As the boy hits the middle section of the song, his voice grows even stronger. The high notes ring out like a cry from the heavens, and the softer tones surround everyone with warmth. His emotional control, perfect pitch, and heartfelt delivery make it clear that this is not just talent, this is destiny unfolding. Amanda is openly sobbing now. Lewis looks like he is witnessing a miracle. Simon's eyes glisten with a rare emotional shine, something that almost never escapes him on camera. The crowd is in complete awe, recording, cheering, crying, shouting his name, shouting, "Oh my God," and "Unbelievable." By the time the final chorus begins, the entire room feels transformed. The boy from Davao has turned a talent show stage into a moment of pure human connection, a moment that will be replayed for years, a moment where everyone, judges and audience, realize they are witnessing history being made. The final note hangs in the air like a golden thread, vibrating through the walls, through the audience, through the judges, through the boy himself. As the echo fades, there is a heartbeat of silence, one perfect second where the entire theater forgets how to breathe. Then the room erupts. The audience explodes into cheers so loud that the floor trembles beneath his worn-out shoes. People throw their hands into the air, some crying, some laughing, many shouting words that get lost beneath the roar of applause. The boy from Davao stands frozen, gripping the microphone with both hands as if it is the only thing keeping him upright. He looks terrified and overwhelmed and grateful all at once. His chest rises and falls rapidly, his eyes darting across the hundreds of faces cheering for him, faces that moments ago doubted him, faces that now look at him like he is someone extraordinary. A miracle. A rebirth of a legend. His lip trembles, his shoulders shake, and slowly, he lowers the mic. His knees wobble as if they're about to give out beneath him. Amanda stands first, her chair pushed back with a soft thud. Tears are already streaming down her cheeks, and she claps with both hands, unable to contain the flood of emotion. That was unbelievable, she tries to say, but her voice breaks. She places a hand over her heart, shaking her head in disbelief. Her makeup is smudged from crying, but she doesn't care. She looks at him like she has just heard the voice of someone touched by heaven. Lewis rises next, his face lit with shock and pure admiration. He slams his hands on the judge's table with excitement, leaning forward and shouting over the cheers, "You are something else. That was magic, pure magic." His voice cracks with excitement, his eyes bright with the realization that they have just witnessed a moment that will become legendary. Simon remains seated for just a moment longer. His eyes are fixed on the boy standing silently on the stage, shaking with emotion. For once, Simon's face is soft, no critique, no calculation. Just awe. Slowly, deliberately, he stands. The audience notices instantly and screams even louder. Simon's lips part, and he speaks in a tone heavy with emotion. "You didn't just sing that song, you created history tonight." The boy's eyes widen, tears filling them instantly. Simon looks toward Amanda and Louis, who nod in return. A silent agreement passes between them. The decision is already made. Without another word, Amanda steps back, raises her trembling hand, and slams it down onto the golden buzzer. A burst of golden confetti shoots into the air, raining down in shimmering waves. The lights brighten, the music swells, and the boy drops to his knees. He covers his face with both hands as he breaks into sobs, heavy, uncontrollable tears from a boy who has carried too much and dreamed too long for this moment not to break him open. The judges rush toward the stage. Amanda kneels beside him, wrapping her arms around his shaking shoulders. Louis squeezes his arm with pride, shouting words of encouragement over the music. Even Simon walks onto the stage, placing a firm, reassuring hand on the boy's back. The audience feels it deeply. This is not just a golden buzzer moment. This is a life-changing, a future opening. A poor boy from Davao, standing in the middle of golden rain, has become a legend in a single, unforgettable performance.